Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar on Smart Invoicing for Growing Business. I'm Dinesh, part of Zoho Invoice team. I will be the presenter for today's webinar. I have my colleague Ramraj here, who will be our organizer. Heads up guys, as this is a listen-only mode webinar, if you have any questions at any point in time, you can communicate using the chat box in the GoToWebinar application. So you can find out on the top right corner. To talk about how Zoho Invoice can benefit you, let's assume that you are a business owner who sells stationery to large companies. Let's say you're selling markers and pens, pencils, etc. Now assume that you supply this stationery to companies across your city. You may have some regular customers and you might have some new customers to whom you supply your goods every month. So you sell your stationery to your customers and create an invoice for the sale. And your customer will in return will be paying according to the invoice. There are two types of payments. One you receive through offline where you receive cash or check. The other one is your customers for those customers who are willing to pay via online. So you're connecting to an online payment gateway to receive payments online. And while running these operations, you may be incurring some expenses too. Some of these you would bill your customers for. For example, if your customers are requesting you to ship the goods to them and asking you to charge for that shipping, then you might be charging your customer. So that's an expense for you and you're charging your customer on that. And for some of the expenses, that might be your personal expenses, let's say electricity bill or internet charges, etc. But you would still need to keep track of all those expenses. At the end, you would also want to know what is the end result, which is nothing but did you make profit? And if yes, and how much? So now let's see how this simple workflow and how you can use Zoho Invoice to achieve this workflow from start to the end. So I'm going to take you to the Zoho Invoice organization. Once you sign up for Zoho Invoice, you'll be redirected to this page. This is the admin page. And the first thing I will find is the dashboard. So Zoho Invoice greets you with a dashboard. Dashboard updates you on total receivables, the sales and expenses, your top expenses in a pie chart, and the list of projects you're working. So which shows that Zoho Invoice can also track time based on your employees' work and still can bill your customers. And finally, the sales dues and the receipts across a period. To start, let us first go to the items section. So items are nothing but the products or the services which you sell or which you offer. So if you're selling products, click on this plus new item, enter the product details and save them. If it is a service, similar one, enter the service name, enter the rate and tax if it is associated, and enter the description. And please note that the description will also be shown on the invoices and simply hit save. In case if it is product, if you want to specify the unit, you can very well do that using this unit column. Let me give you an example. Let's assume that you're selling water bottles, then the unit will be liters. So likewise, you can create as many items as you want, so nothing but the products and services. So here you can create your list of items. Let's go to contact section here. So contact section holds all the list of customers you have. Okay, so when I click on this plus new contact, I can fill in my contacts information like the first name, last name, company name, and then the contact's display name. So if you wanted to search that contact, you can use that contact display name and search. Enter the contact's email address so that whenever I send an invoice across to that client, the email will be sent. So I need an email address, right? So the contact's email address. And enter the website and all of the details. And here you can choose the payment details, the currency. So your customer might live across. Let's say he lives in Canada or he lives in Australia. So you can choose his currency. And inside settings here on the top, you will be able to define the exchange rate between your currency and your customer's currency. So your currency will be defined when you create an organization. And if you want a default payment term, you can choose them here. And you can also enable a client portal. The portal is nothing but if you want a separate workspace where your customers can log in and view the invoices and estimates which you sent across to him, and he can accept or deny the estimates and also pay for the invoices online. So all these facilities are available in a workspace, and we name that workspace as client portal. And if you want to provide client portal access to your contact, you have to check the box. And client portal comes with your organization completely free. We don't charge you on that. Next is the customer's address. You can fill in your customer's billing address as well as the shipping address. And you can create custom fields inside the settings, and you can define them for this customer here. And notes for internal purpose. So you can fill in all the details, and you can manage all your list of contacts in this section. You can also import and export contacts if you wish. If you have a list with you, click on this three-line sandwich icon and click on import contacts. Download the sample file and simply import the contacts. So having taken care of items and contacts, the products which I'm going to sell, and the people who I'm going to sell those products. So items and then the contacts. Let's see how you can generate your estimate and send it across to your client, and then how you can convert that estimate in a single click of a button to an invoice, and how you can get paid for that invoice online. So first, inside sales, you can manage all your account receivables, starting from estimates, return invoices, and all those. So I'm going to go to estimates. So here I can find the list of estimates which I've created. I can have a beautiful preview on the right side when I clicked on any of those transactions. To create a new one, I can click on this plus new estimate. So simple as that. Since I've added my customer to whom I'm going to sell the product, I can simply choose the customer. And here my customer's currency will be populated. And this estimate number can be auto-generated. If you want to type it manually each time, you can select it, yes, I will type them manually each time, and save it. And moving forward, you can type your estimate number by yourself. Reference number for your internal references, and then estimate date, expiry date. If you want to set an expiry date on after which the estimate cannot be accepted or it's been expired, you can do that here. So inside settings, you can configure to say, yes, I need salesperson in the estimates on the invoices. So by that, you can simply type in your salesperson name, and moving forward, Zoho Invoice will be remembering those salesperson name, and they'll be displaying at the bottom, so you can choose them easily. And now here you can choose your items. Items are nothing but the products or the services, as you know. So I can select one. I'm going to select another one, and I can specify the quantity here, and then the rate will be automatically multiplied. Here you could see there is an exchange rate applied between my customer's currency and my currency. Based on that, the exchange rate is applied and the amount is shown here in AUD, Australian dollars. I can choose the tax. So the taxes can be added here. If you want to create a new one, you can click on this plus new tax and add a new one. Or under settings, you can define a bunch of taxes. The taxes, individual taxes, and the group taxes. You can provide discounts. Again, under settings, you can say whether I need to give discounts across each and every device or at the end of the invoice. So here I have decided to give at the end of the invoice. So I can enter the discount here. So I'm going to give 9% discount. And here you could see my VAT corresponding rate. And then I can enter the shipping charges and adjustments if I want. And I can also rename this adjustment and say I can rename this adjustment and charge my client on that. I can also use this adjustment, say adjust 0.99. I can do that. So here you could see it's been rounded off. I can use it for rounding off as well. I can enter the shipping charges if any. So I'm going to say yes, $12. So it's 52 now. This customer notes terms and conditions can be configured under settings so that you don't have to enter it again and again while creating an estimate. And finally, here is my contact's email address, which is automatically selected. If you receive advance payment from your client, and to record that is we have something called as retainer invoices. Retainer invoices are the document which are created to receive advance payments and record them. And finally, when you raise an invoice, once you're done with the project or the shipment, once you create an invoice, you can associate this retainer invoice payments to that, so that the invoice amount will be reduced as the payment made and the balance due amount will be shown. So in that case, if once your customer accepts this estimate and says that I'm agreeing with this deal, and if you want to collect 10% of the payment in advance, you can select the return invoices and you can select the 10% automatically here, so that the return invoice will be automatically created. Zoho Invoice is integrated with 9 major online payment gateways. Since I'm going to receive money from a return invoice, I can choose the payment gateway here. And if this is an estimate, and since this is an estimate, I won't be able to choose any payment gateway here. So in this case, I can choose the payment gateway, and I can simply enter the credentials and save it. And moving forward, my customers can pay via that payment gateway. You can also attach additional reference files, and you can create a bunch of templates and customize them. The templates are nothing but the look and feel of your invoice. How do you want it to be? So I'm going to select light here, which I've customized. I'm going to say OK. And I have two options. One, I can save as draft. The one is save and send. So I'm going to click on save and send. That's going to take me to the email page, where I can view the email content. Along with, I also notice that the estimate is attached in a PDF format. I can simply hit on send. The email will be sent across to my client. So have simply created an estimate, have sent across to my client. And here you could see the estimate preview with the send status on it. And here you could see how the estimate is created and estimate is emailed. And on the top, you have this edit icon to edit the email, edit this estimate, and download it in as a PDF and print it. If you want to email it, you can again do it using this. And in a click of a button, you can convert this estimate to an invoice. And in more option, you can send snail mail or mark this estimate as accepted or declined, clone or delete. You have various options. So now that I've sent an estimate across to my client, let's see how my client can accept the estimate in the client portal. So I'm going to go to this customer. So to enable the client portal, I know that while creating a contact, I would have selected an option here. If I have not done that, if I've created the contact, I still have an option here under more, and click on configure client portal and check the box and save it, so an email will be triggered. Or you can also click on this re-invite to the portal and send an invitation again. So I'm going to open my mailbox. And I'm going to show you how this estimate will look like in the email. So I logged into the base mailbox, and the first thing I've noticed is the estimate which is sent from that organization. And here I have the preview. I can view it online, and here you could see Word Online opening up the estimate right here. So here you could see the estimate, and here is our email. Okay, now I'm going to send a client portal invitation to this customer again. I'm going to click on re-invite to the portal, and the invitation will be sent. And here you could see the invitation popped up immediately. So I'm going to click on this accept invitation. So this will be the exact procedure with your clients as well. So you send an in client portal invitation, they will receive an email, and in that email they have to click on the link, and it will ask them to create a username and password. Once they chosen the username and password, moving forward they can log into the portal. So when you hit sign in, your customers will be, your customers, when they enter the credentials, they'll be logged into the client portal. This is the portal, the look and feel of it. They can view the list of estimates here. They can view the list of invoices here and the list of payments which they made in the payments made section. And they can also generate their the customer statement, the statement of accounts, and they can select the date range and they can download them. So when I go to the estimate section, here you could see there is an estimate which I recently sent, cell phone case and cat collar, and your customers can click on accept button to accept it directly, or they can forward it to someone. Let's say they can simply type in the email address and they can send, or they can also download, print, or decline. So I'm going to accept it. Once I click on accept, here you could see there is a pop-up which is asking for the return invoice. So you remember that when I created an estimate, so here in the transactions tab I can filter it. So here you could see there is an invoice, the estimate, which has been converted to an invoice. While creating this estimate, I've checked this box for return invoice and said I need 10% in advance, right? So that's the reason why you could see this pop-up here. So Zoho Invoice automatically created a return invoice for me to receive advance payments. Your customers can click on pay now to pay directly, or they can pay later. And when they go to invoices section, they will find the return invoice for 10%. So they can click here and they can view the return invoice. So this one is automatically created from the estimate EST70. And they can click on pay now and they can choose the payment gateway and they can proceed with the payment, and that will take them to the online payment gateway and they can make a payment online. So this is how the entire workflow, and this is how client portal reduces the time, the to email to and fro time between you and your customers, so that you can be more productive and receive money on time. You can also communicate with your customers using the client portal. Let's assume that your customer is going to type and say, this is fine, when will I receive the goods? So let's assume that your customer is saying that and he adds the comment. So he adds the comment, and here when you go back to this estimate, okay, just over the preview of the estimate, you will find your customer's comment. You can simply click on add comment and check the box called display in the client portal. I have sent an invoice, please check it. You can simply click on add comment. So when your customer goes to this client portal, he will find the comments which you made to him. So this acts like a chat box where you can communicate across with your client easily. And inside the settings, inside Zoho Invoice, when you click on the preferences, okay, here under the estimate section, you have an option where you can automatically send an invoice from the copy of the estimate which is accepted. So whenever my customer accepts an estimate, I can recreate that. I can clone that to an invoice and I can send it across to my client in an instant. So I've selected that. Based on that, when my customer goes to that invoice section, he will find the invoice from the estimate. So here you could see cell phone case and cat collar, an invoice which is automatically created from that accepted estimate. Again, my customers can simply click on a button, pay now, and they can make a payment online. They can forward, they can do a bunch. So this is how time reducing Zoho Invoice is when it comes to converting an estimate to an invoice and sending across to your clients. So this is done instantly, right? So if you wish to manually go ahead and do that, you will find a convert to invoice option on the top. When you click on it, you will find a new invoice fields filled in with all the details, and here you can choose your payment gateway, respective one, and you can click on save and send or save as draft. This time I'm going to save as draft just to show you guys, and here you could see an invoice in the draft status. You can edit the invoice, you can download it or print them or email them, record payment offline as well. So you will have this record payment button on the top. Click on that and you can simply type in the amount which you received. If there is any bank charges, enter them here. Tax deducted, then simply enter the amount withheld here. Enter the reference number, notes, and all those, and simply record the payment. So now this is how you record an offline payment. So for online, you connect with your online payment gateway. When your customer clicks on the pay now button, they'll be redirected to the online payment gateway and make a payment for the invoice. And to receive or to record offline payment, you can use the record payment button on the top. So this is how you can create an estimate and you can convert that to an invoice in a click of a button. To create a new estimate from the scratch, you can click on this plus new creation form, and the similar one you can choose the customer, invoice number, item details, add more lines. You have all the same features and functionalities and simply send it across to your client. This is how the entire workflow goes. Whenever there is a payment received for the invoices, you will have them in the payment received section. You can go to that and you can view a receipt. You can download the receipt or edit or print. You can also attach a file according to this payment received or delete the one. To create recurring invoices, there might be cases where you might be shipping goods regularly to your customers and you want to create a recurring invoice for every month. You can click on this plus new button to the same similar form, except that here you have to choose repeat every, which defines how this invoice is going to be recurring in over a period. So for example, month, then it's going to be recurring every month. So you can create this recurring invoice and send it across to your client and get paid online. Now, imagine I'm going to ship my goods across to my client, and one of my clients says that, fine, you can please ship me the goods and charge me for their shipment. Here, you can click on this plus new expense to create new expense. The expenses tab will hold all the list of expenses. Click on it. You will find the preview. You can attach and drag and drop a file. I'm going to click on this record expense button, and here I can choose a category. The best part is Zoho Invoice allows me to create my own categories, as many categories as I want. So I can say shipping, and I can save and select, and here I can choose the amount in which I incurred this expense, and I can say 100. And the tax, if the tax is associated, select the tax and say amount is inclusive or exclusive. If you have any reference number, add them. And if you have any receipt to be attached, you can also add them. And if you want to charge your customer back on the expenses which you incurred, you can choose the customer name and select billable and save it. Or just leave it blank and save it. So that'll record your expenses for your company if you're not choosing the customer. If you're going to select billable and save it, what happens is that you will have an option called convert this to an invoice. So simply an expense which is billable can be converted to an invoice in a click of a button, and here you could see the customer name is automatically selected, and here you could see the shipping expense which is already added, and I can save it. Or Zoho Invoice cleverly shows you there is an expense for this customer. Here you could see there's one unbilled expense. When you create a new invoice for that same customer who has unbilled expenses, when you choose the customer, here you will find the unbilled expenses option. You can click on it and you can select them and you can add them. So you can never miss on any expenses incurred on behalf of the customer. And you can add it and you can bill your customers. And this expense can also be made recurring. So you can click on more button and make it recurring, or just create a new recurring invoice. Recurring expense. And in a similar format, again, you have to specify how this expense is recurring. So simple as that. So I think we have achieved our entire workflow. Initially, I have added my list of items which I'm going to sell, and then I've added the list of contacts to whom I'm going to sell the products to, and then I've created an estimate. I have sent it across to my client, and my client accepted it via the client portal. And I have also shown you how the email for that estimate will look like, and how I can convert an estimate to an invoice in a click of a button, and how that can automatically happen if my customer is going to accept the estimate in the client portal. So simple as that. So once you start using Zoho Invoice, you will realize that keeping a track of your expenses was never so easy. So I've shown you how to record expenses and how to charge your customer for the incurred for the expenses which you incurred on behalf of the customer. Now you have your sales, you have your receipts and expenses all tracked and recorded. But how do you interpret all the numbers of sales and payments and expenses? Who is the best performing salesperson? So I have salesperson, I've added them while creating an invoice. So here, while creating an invoice, I've added my salesperson. So I have two salespersons. I need to know who did most of the sales and what is my hottest selling item and what is my biggest expense, what is the which I need to reduce, which customer has most number of invoices and the bad payment recorded and all those. You can get all the answers to these questions and many more using the Zoho Invoice report section. You can go to reports. A report gives you 20 plus solid reports starting from sales by customer. So here you will find the list of customers you have, the total invoice count, the sales was tax. Click on sales, it will drill down and say these are the invoices and these are the sales and these are sales with tax and so and so. Once you associate a salesperson, here inside the report section, you will find the list of salespersons here and what is the invoice count, what is the total sales I received, and the sales with tax. And the best part is you can customize this date range and you can say, I need to select today and I want to know whom are all the salesperson. So here I could see Nathan Brooks, 2 invoices, sales and sales without tax. Receivables, I can view invoice aging, invoice details where I can filter it and I can run a report. Again, this report can be exported in PDF, CSV, or in XLS format. And you can go to payments received to view the list of payments, and taxes, you will find tax summary. So you will know what is the tax, what is the percentage, what is the taxable amount, and all those. And under activity, in the activity log, you will find what are all the activity carried over by what are the users you have. So Zoho Invoice allows you to invite other users, let's say your employees, whom gonna work for you on behalf of your company to create invoices. So to invite them, click on this gear icon and click on users and click on invite user and type in their email address, name, and then the role which you would like to assign and send an invitation. You can customize the role using this role section, and here you can completely customize it. For example, I don't want that person to edit or delete any customer. I can uncheck it and I can send an invitation, but that person can edit or delete an invoice since I've provided the access. So uncheck the box to deny access, check the box to provide access, and you can customize your user roles based on your requirement and send an invitation, and that particular user will be bound to these roles and they can access your data in your organization. They can work for you. So this is how simple and straightforward Zoho Invoice is with regards to the workflow and how to create estimates or how to create an invoice and manage them and all those. Shows that Zoho Invoice can help you in getting a complete control over your invoicing starting from an estimate and what are the list of invoices are still to be paid. Here you could see the total receivables where I can find the current, overdue, 1 to 15 days, 16 to 30 days, 31 to 45, above 45, and so on. So I pretty much explained what are the functionalities of Zoho Invoice in a simple workflow, which I defined at the beginning. And apart from that, in Zoho Invoice, you can also track time, you can manage projects and bill your customers, and you can also upload your customers' card details and charge your customers for the recurring invoices. And we have lots and lots of features. So I'm really glad if you guys can ask me some questions and or give me any specific areas where I can drill down deep and give you more details. And this concludes the webinar, a general webinar, a basic one on how easy it is to use Zoho Invoice for your growing business. So I'm really eagerly waiting for your questions. So please to post your questions in the in the chat box in the GoToWebinar application, and I'll be more than glad to answer those for you.